This is one of those topics that I really don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about this, but I kind of have to. It directly relates to a lot of Alpha 2.0 concepts and techniques and lifestyle design systems. So I need to address it, even though I'm not going to have a fun time addressing it, because it borders on some political stuff, which I don't like talking about, but it's necessary. This is this new craze of everybody moving out of California. I'm going to explain what this means, and I'm going to explain why it doesn't work, and it's not going to work. And it's not going to work for you. I'll explain that in a second. I'm Caleb Jones. This is Alpha Male 2.0, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We do 5 videos a week, 5 a week, on how to make both your business life and woman life more free, because you need both. We are doing an online course giveaway right now. This is my online course on how you can design your own location-independent income through your own small business or big business if you want. That course normally retails for $1,400, but you might be able to get it for free. All you need to do is be a subscriber here at YouTube and like this video and leave a comment, and I will regularly announce the winner of the drawing at the YouTube community feed here at this YouTube channel. Now, there has been a lot of news on the internet lately, articles about this, YouTube videos about this, about the great exodus of people moving out of the state of California. And all these people are moving out of California because California is run by a bunch of crazy SJW liberals, and all the taxes are ridiculous, and all the lockdowns are horrible, and the government's lost their minds there. All these crazy Californians, get the fuck out of California and move to Texas where everything is perfect. Move to Arizona where everything is perfect. A few things. And this is a big topic, so I'm going to try to summarize it as best I can in this video. Number one, yes, California sucks. I have said, and I have been saying for about 15 years, California, the state of California, is literally one of the worst places in the world, not the country of the United States, but in the world for the Alpha Male 2.0 to live. It's one of the worst places because both financially and your woman life are going to be more difficult if you live in California. So if you live in the Bay Area, if you live anywhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, you know how hard dating is there for men. It's a bitch. It's a nightmare. It's one of the hardest cities in North America. Toronto's pretty bad too, but San Francisco's probably the worst. And I have had numerous guys who moved from other cities in the United States to San Francisco, and all of a sudden all their dating techniques don't work anymore because women are so difficult down there. We could talk about that all day. I'm not going to. So that's the woman side of things. LA is better, but it's still difficult in LA. It's very statusy in LA. It's harder in LA. California's tough. It's tough to date in California. Number one. Number two, the taxes you have to pay in California, the fees you have to pay in California, the cost of living in California is fucking ridiculous. If you want sun, go to Florida where there's no income tax. I know guys who are making decent incomes in California who pay 60% of their fucking paycheck in some form of tax because they live in fucking California. So these are guys who make $120,000 a year, and they think they make $120,000 a year. No, if you live in California and you make $120,000 a year, you don't make $120,000 a year. You make about $50,000 a year, because most of your income goes in the form of taxes, you moron. You could make $75,000 a year in your own location-independent Alpha 2.0 business, move out of California, and you would actually make more money and have a better lifestyle. So yes, California sucks. Yes, yes, that's not the problem. The problem is something else. The problem is that this focus, this over-focus on California as the stupidest place in the United States, it deludes people into thinking that all the crazy people in the United States are in California. Wrong. They're all over the United States. The entire United States is a left-wing country. The entire United States is collapsing. Everyone in the United States, with some exceptions, have become hyper-irrational. Wrong. I will prove it if you look at the election statistics from the last election, but also the election before that. I'll talk about that in a second. California is just the vanguard. California is just the first place this is happening. California is the canary in the coal mine. As California goes, every other state in America will eventually go, because California is exporting all of its people to other states, and it's not just California. Is California the only psycho left-wing state in the United States? Have you been to New York? Have you been to New Jersey? Are you insane? Have you been to Vermont? No. I will give you the perfect example. And this is something I know very well because I grew up here, the state of Oregon. So you guys who grew up in the state of Oregon, you already know what I'm going to say. Way back in the 1980s and 70s, but mostly in the 80s, when I was a kid growing up in Oregon, Oregon was a right-wing state. predominantly. Oregon was not a left-wing state. Oregon had a huge problem with a bunch of people from California moving up to Oregon. And there was this huge thing in Oregon. It was huge in the 80s. It was everywhere. Of all these Oregonians bitching and moaning about these Californians. Don't move to Oregon. We don't want your crazy left-wing shit up here. We don't want your taxes up here. We are, we're good, honest people up here. We don't want your crazy shit. We don't want your crazy Californian shit up in Oregon. That was, 30 years ago? And now, 30 years later, Oregon is more left-wing than California. Or at least as left-wing, depending on what you're talking about. Oregon is one of the most left-wing states in the United States. In some respects, it is the most left-wing state in the United States. What happened to Oregon is now happening to Texas. It is now happening to Arizona. What happened in Arizona during the last presidential election between Trump and Biden? Biden won Arizona. Arizona used to be a red state. Now it is a blue state. For those of you who don't understand, red means right-wing Republican, blue means left-wing liberal. So Arizona, once a bastion of conservatism, is now a blue state. Biden took Arizona. Now, Texas. Did Trump win Texas? Yes, he won Texas, but barely. It was just a few percentage points. Go look it up if you don't believe me. He barely won Texas. And this is the wonderful right-wing place that everybody is supposed to move to out of California. Go to Texas. In just a few years, Texas will also flip over to blue. Right now it's purple. As a matter of fact, I believe the numbers are, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, if my memory serves, is that Trump won Texas by 600,000 votes out of 11 million voters. He barely won in Texas. So is Texas this right-wing bastion of right-wing conservative values? No. No. Very soon Texas will be a left-wing state. Matter of fact, the only states, if you look at the last election, the only states where Trump just kicked Biden's ass were the states like North Dakota, where no one fucking lives, that are worth something like 3 electoral college points. That's it. So if you want true right-wing conservative values, you got to move to somewhere like Nebraska, North Dakota, Wyoming, one of these states where no one fucking lives. And even those states will eventually become left as time goes on, as America continues to move to the political left, and as America continues toward the path of collapse. What I'm trying to explain to you is moving out of California or moving out of your left-wing state to a state like Arizona or Texas, which is slightly less left-wing, is not the solution. It is not the long-term solution to your problems. Now, I'm not saying that if you make a lot of money like Joe Rogan, you could save a lot of money in taxes for a few years if you make a move from California to Texas. That makes sense for people like Joe Rogan. That makes sense for people like Elon Musk, who make a shitload of money and can save a percentage, therefore millions of dollars, by moving to a different state. You're probably not in the category where you're making hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm willing to bet you're not anywhere near that category, which means moving out of a left-wing state to some other state, which is almost as left-wing but not there yet, is not a long-term solution. What happens to all these people who move out of California and move to Texas, and then Texas becomes left-wing? Where are you going to go to next? Are you going to move to Oklahoma and then move to North Dakota? You're just going to keep moving every few years the rest of your life? Until what? Till you live out in the middle of nowhere in this little desert hut? That's not the long-term solution. The long-term solution is what I talk about. Alpha Male 2.0. Getting your location-independent income so you can live anywhere in the world you want, much less the country. Anywhere in the world you want. And you can make those moves very easily, logistically, and still make money, where you're not tethered toward the laws of your local region. Do you think I give a shit at all about California? What's happening in California? What's happening in Texas or Arizona? What's even happening in Oregon? Do you think I give a fuck? No, I'm completely location independent, and I'm moving out of the country in about 2 months. But even if I wasn't moving out of the country, even if I made the decision to stay in the collapsing USA for the rest of my life, I still wouldn't care, because it doesn't affect me the way it affects normal people. Because I've embraced this lifestyle. Alpha 2.0 business structures, Alpha 2.0 investment structures, Alpha 2.0 dating and relationship structures. When you have these in place, it doesn't really matter. Now, does that mean you should live in California? No, you probably shouldn't. I wouldn't live in California. But what I'm saying is, moving from California to Texas and thinking, oh, good, I'm done now, I've solved that problem, you're stupid. That's not going to solve a goddamn thing long term. It'll give you some warm fuzzies for about a year or two until your new, quote, right-wing state, which it isn't, Texas, Arizona, whatever thing, Utah, whatever state you've got in mind, will also shift to the left. As I've said many times, I've been saying this for decades, the United States is moving to the political left every few years, no matter what, including when Trump was elected. The concept of socialism, if you look at the surveys and the polls, the concept of socialism is now more popular now since Trump was president in the last 4 years. So you can vote for whoever you want. America will continue to move to the left in every state, with the exception, yes, of the very sparsely populated rural states. If you want to move there, great, go ahead and move there. But if you don't want to move there, your only option is Alpha Male 2.0. That's your only option left. Don't think for a minute that moving from California or New York or New Jersey and these other psychotic left-wing states is somehow going to save you by moving to Texas. Texas is not right-wing. Sorry. Neither is Arizona. All these places people are moving to. And I say that as someone who is probably going to get a house in Arizona. But I'm not there to escape California. I'm there to have a base to stay at when I stay in the United States once I move out next year. I'm not basing my home base and living in Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't want to. That's the United States. No thanks. I just want to have a flag there. Very different. If you need more help in designing a lifestyle like this, so you don't have to worry about these problems, you can join the SMIC program at joinsmic.com. In the meantime, you can click here for those 6 things you do need to do if you're not going to move out of the United States and embrace Alpha 2.0. The 6 things you must do, watch that video. Or if you do want to move out of the United States, you can click this video for 11 cool countries to move to. I will see you very soon in the next video.